Here's our warm-up for the first couple. Find the midpoint, find the distance formula, solve that quadratic equation out of the 4 you can do. All right, so we're talking about your parabolas, the set of all points x and y in the coordinate plane that are equidistant from a fixed line, your directrix. So this line right here is your directrix, okay? And if we go look at your conic section formula page real quick, you can see you got the formula for your directrix here. Y equals k minus p. P shouldn't be all that different. That should be the new part for you. The k is your vertex from our formula. Okay. Now, talking the horizontal, when the parabola opens left or right, this time your directrix is x is equal to h minus p. We're going to bring this up again, but be careful of what your vertex is. Notice that it's k here and then an h, but we still report it as an hk. So when we're doing a horizontal, be very careful of how you're reporting your vertex, okay? Okay, so going back to here. All right, so then the red point here is our focus. Now the one thing, and I don't know, when I taught geometry a long time ago, we did parabolas. They talked about this being inside of here, the focus, and they said that, you know, think of the headlights and they aim it for one point, and then that's how they get the better light out there. You guys remember that question at all? Oh, I get a lot of blank stares. That's not good. That was a great question I made up. Okay, so then we know what this is right here. This is a vertex, yes. All right, so that's something that we're familiar with, okay? Now, the cool thing about the vertex, it is the midpoint between, take a guess. Oh, they're not guessing. Between the focus and the directrix. Scoot that up so you can see it. How's that? That's better. So the vertex is in between, right in the middle, between the focus and the directrix. Then we have one more wonderful part. We have this. And what is that called? That's your axis of symmetry. And what does that mean? Exactly. It's a mirror. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So looking at those great examples, is there anything you want to go over before we go on to the next page? Okay. So what we're going to do is, let's see here. How do I want to explain those notes? So all we did is we just transferred the stuff from our conics section formula. And so we're going to start with changing this guy into our standard form. Okay, so we're going to start with y is equal to negative x squared minus 2x plus 3. All right, what does, and we got to, here's the great part. We've got to complete the square. Okay, all right, so what does negative x squared and 2x have in common? What kind of one? Negative 1. Thank you, because we need to know which direction we're opening, okay? Okay, so we're going to have x squared plus 2x, right? Right? Go ahead, nod. I'm going to take it. So completing the square. 2 divided by 2. 1. 1 squared. 1. Okay. So now I need to keep my equation balanced, correct? All right, so this is a positive one, but what did we do here? We made a negative one. So you're going to go 1 times negative 1, which is negative 1, okay? So we added negative 1, right? So I need to do the opposite and add 1 here, okay? What we had been doing is if I put a negative 1 here, I had to put a negative 1 out on this side, and then I would just add it over, right? So trying to save a little bit of work, so I'm not doing an extra step, we're going to do a couple more of those so you can kind of see it, all right? But we're keeping our equation balanced. All right, so I'm going to go with y is equal to negative 1, x plus 1 squared is equal to, oh, not equal, plus 4, okay? So then I can come up here and put my answer as y is equal to negative x plus 1 squared plus 4. All right, what's my vertex, guys? Careful, negative 1, 4. Okay, which way does it open? Down, because it is negative. Okay, I'm going to skip these two for now. I'm just going to jump down to something I can just fill in like that. What's my axis of symmetry? Negative 1. And how did you know that? Perfect. You got it. Excellent. All right. In fact, I can come up here and I can just put a 1 right there, right? Because I know that h again is negative 1. Okay. All right. So I need to find my p. So I'm going to go p is equal to 1, 4 times by what's a? Negative 1. Okay. So that means that p is equal to negative 1/4. Okay. So what's my k? 4. So I'm going to go 4 plus negative 1/4. So that gives me, now, if you want to put it as an improper fraction, that's fine. But I'm going to be graphing this. And so it's sometimes for me personally, I like to leave it as a mixed number. Okay. It makes a little bit more sense for me to graph it. Okay. So I'm going to come over to here and say, now that my focus is going to be 3 3/4. Okay. Now, y is equal to, this time around, I'm going to go 4 minus negative 1/4. Negative and a negative is a, so 4 1/4. Good job. And again, I want to graph it, so I want to put something that I can graph, right? Okay. So then the last thing I got to do is I got to graph it. I'm going to pause it real quick so that I can put my coordinate. So like I said, I made a little coordinate plane. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plot my vertex, which is at negative 1, 4. So negative 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put it right about there. Okay. I'm going to come in and I'm going to put in my, what's this called? This is my axis of symmetry. I'm going to put in my directrix. So 4 1/4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to have to just eyeball it. I'm going to say it's about right there. You can't see it. I'm going to say it's a little bit above the 4. And then I'm just going to come into here. So that's my y is equal to 4 and 1/4. That's my directrix. This is my axis of symmetry. Just abbreviate it so we can make it fit. And then I have a focus, which is -1 and 3 3/4, which I'm going to say is right about there. Okay. Now for my parabola, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to find out when things, I'm just going to graph it like normal. Okay. So at 0, when x is 0, I know that y is 3. Because if I put 0 in for x, 0, 0, 0, what am I left with? 3. Okay. So because of the axis of symmetry, the distance from here to here is 1. That means I can go from here and I can put a dot at -2, and that's also going to give me 1. Okay. Now, if that's not enough for you to graph, you can go ahead and substitute -1 in, or a 2, or a 1 or 2, excuse me. So let's see here. 1 squared is 1, make it negative. -1 plus -2 is -3. -3 plus 3 is 0. So then I'm going to cross here. And then the cool thing is I know I'm going to cross there, and that should be enough to make our parabola. Okay? Yes, sir. Okay. So what I'm going to have you guys do is just kind of work through this on, I know it's going to sound horrible, but just practice doing standard form, completing the square, which you're good at. So that's our original problem. We converted it, so our vertex became -1, 3. A is positive, so we open it up. The focus is -1, 3 1/8. Y is equal to 2 7/8. Y is equal to -1. Here is my how I completed the square. So I know that 2 and 4 have a common 2. And so then I took 2 divided by 2, which is 1. 1 squared is 1. So then I have to remember that I have to take this value out in front of it as well. So I go 1 times 2, that's a positive 2. So I do the opposite, which is -2. So that's how we did our completing the square. And then P is equal to 1/8. Now, the third example we did was that x is equal to y minus k squared plus h, because we noticed that y squared, that the y is squared this time. X is single. So we're actually solving this, so it's going to be opening left or right. Our parabola is. Okay? So now we know that the vertex is 3, 2, because I completed the square again down here. And then because A is negative, we know that's going to open left because we checked our sheet. And then our focus is 2 3/4, 2. Well, x is equal to 3/4 for our directrix, and y is equal to 2. Okay, so this is our picture for our second example. This is how the parabola looks opening to the left. I plotted my points incorrectly. So my suggestion, I was trying to show how smart I was, and I screwed up majorly. So my suggestion is when you're plotting these points to make them an ordered pair so you don't forget what you're plotting, okay? This is something totally new. I hope to see many of you in at lunch or after school or before school so that I can try and help you understand the material. So have a good one.